fresh meat.
The Resident Evil film series has long been a cash cow for Sony's Screen Gems and Constantine Films. Having run 6 installments, the Milla Jovovich-led series has made well over $1 billion worldwide, and it didn't take long after 2017's Resident Evil: The Final Chapter for all involved to decide to reboot the franchise. With Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, a new creative team has come on board to take the series back to its origins by crafting a film that hews closely to the storyline of the first 2 games and takes place in 1998 to boot, which in real life was just about when the games were becoming pop culture sensations. So, how does it fare? Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but as far as reboots go, this one does not inspire much hope for a new, enduring series of zombie action flicks, and by the time nearly an hour of the running time has passed with little to no action, you'll be missing Milla Jovovich kicking butt in the much less ambitious but a lot more entertaining original series. I get what they were doing here. They were trying to stick to the games, but I also don't think they had the budget or the resources to make a movie that can really go toe-to-toe with the rest of the franchise or the big tentpole action movies that we're seeing come out every other week. There's so much exposition going on in the first hour that for the longest time you feel like you're watching cutscenes from the video game, and this isn't helped by the fact that the writing is a little bit schlocky at times. The characters are always doing annoying things like introducing themselves by their full names, just so that you know which characters from the games they're supposed to be playing, as if fans didn't already know. That's why they're doing annoying things like, oh hi, I'm Jill Valentine, when you meet somebody for the first time, or hi, I'm Chris Redfield. I mean, you introduce yourself as Jill or as Chris, you don't always use your full name, and it's always just weird when I see characters do that in movies. It always feels so fake. Once the action kicks in, it's all kinda low budget and generic. There are no big heroic moments or unforgettable kills. Now, as silly as that image of Milla Jovovich doing a flying roundhouse kick on a zombie dog was in the first film, at least it wasn't something you were likely to forget. Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City commits the cardinal sin for a movie like this. It becomes boring. The Anderson movies were silly, but I don't think they were boring. The cast in this is a mixed bag. The movie is an adaptation of the first 2 games, meaning that the action is episodic and split up. You've got 4 main characters. On the one hand, we have Kaya Scodelario as Claire Redfield, who returns to Raccoon City to help her brother, and along the way teams up with Avon Joge's Leon S. Kennedy. On the other hand, we have Chris Redfield, played by Robbie Amell, and Hannah John-Kamen's Jill Valentine, who are fighting for their lives in a mansion within the city limits. The cast is uniformly striking on a visual level. They all look amazing in their parts, and they're very attractive people. Scodelario has always struck me as a huge star that's just waiting to happen, but Claire is mostly saddled with exposition this time. She doesn't get to do a lot of butt kicking. Joge's Leon is kind of the comic relief, with him a none too bright cop that none of the others trust because he accidentally shot one of his partners in the butt while he was in police academy and only has his job because his dad apparently is a big shot. The 2 of them probably do the best acting jobs in a movie outside of Donald Logue, who chews the scenery as the Raccoon City chief of police. Amell and Kamen get comparatively less screen time. Amell's Chris Redfield is off screen for something like half hour at one point, making me wonder if his availability for this was limited. Amell is fine, but not given a heck of a lot to do, except to be the goody two-shoes cop that pines over Hannah John-Kamen's Valentine, who lusts over the brawny but not very trustworthy Wesker, who's played by Tom Hopper in what I have to say is a very wooden performance. I wasn't crazy about his acting here. Kamen has a lot of presence, and Valentine should have been a kick-ass character, but like everyone else, her screen time is limited. And I like Amell as Redfield. I like the fact that he's playing, a pretty nice guy who's not full of pathos. But again, he doesn't get enough action. There's a little bit towards the end, but I mean, maybe in further sequels, Chris Redfield would really become a badass, but I just didn't feel that they got the most out of Amell that they could have. I think also there's probably just too many characters for a movie that only runs 100 minutes. Meanwhile, you've got Neil McDonough on board as the movie's big bad, William Birkin, but I feel like he's been used too often by Hollywood as bad guys. I mean, I feel like we've seen this performance from him before, and I wish Hollywood would start casting him against type. Why not put him in as a good guy? I would have liked to have seen him as the police chief and maybe have Donald Logue play the villain, but I digress. Director Johannes Roberts does what he can with the material. He has fun with the 90s setting, perhaps too much fun, with some needle drops being a little bit obnoxious, as are the constant references to chat rooms, Blockbuster Video, Palm Pilots, VHS tapes, and more. The best thing about this movie is the slick lensing by DP Maxime Alexandre, who's a favorite of a lot of genre directors, and man, I can see why. He makes this movie look great. It has a very slick look. In terms of gore, sure, it's R-rated and there's some gore, but it's kind of in the usual Resident Evil vein, meaning it's cartoonish. I do believe more practical stuff was done this time, but the movie definitely won't be slammed as ultra-violent, and it's certainly not as weird and grotesque as the games were at times. It all felt a little bit tame, although they sprinkle in an obnoxious amount of F-words as if they were added after the fact to prove to fans that the movie is hardcore. This is an R-rated Resident Evil. On the whole, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is a pretty disappointing reboot of the franchise. Perhaps in future films, if they get a little bit more money, they'll be able to do more with the characters and have some more impressive action. But, as something that's supposed to launch a franchise, it just didn't really work for me. And I feel like, they were promising amazing things to come and they just never really delivered. So I give the movie about a 5 on 10. I liked a couple of the performances, and I thought that the photography was terrific. But the movie itself, very much a mixed bag.
What are you doing out hitchhiking on a night like this, eh? Used to live here, you said. Raccoon City. Better you than me.
Watch out!
To go now.
Lock the gates. Claire, why are you back here?
This whole town's been poisoned. If we don't contain this, it could threaten the whole world.
Shall we go?
Come on.
What the What were Umbrella doing here?
They were experimenting on him.
This is my life's work. I'm not giving it to anybody.
Vickers, this is Chief Irons. Pick up your damn radio!
Umbrella is gonna destroy this place.
I just really want to get out of this town.
Chris Redfield is a small-town hero.
Right here!
And now he's part of the Raccoon City Police Force.
Umbrella Corporation has a virus, and the virus infects Raccoon City.
If we don't contain this, it could threaten the whole world.
Chris has to become more than just a small-town hero. He has to become this action hero.
What's really cool about our movie is that it is very much an adaptation of the games.
We gotta get out of here.
It's like I'm living in the video game, and it's really, really exciting.
Get behind me!
This whole town's been poisoned.
In our story, Claire Redfield is a runaway from Raccoon City. She's run away because she feels something was very wrong there. Now she's coming back to tell her brother some very important information.
Why are you back here, Claire?
Watch this.
You gotta help us, Claire.
Umbrella, we had a little incident. People are getting sick.
We have to contain this.
Claire is a rounded character. She has her own journey. She isn't just there to shoot guns. I love how rebellious she is.
Come on.
She's an absolute badass.
We're gonna take Umbrella down.